Big news for Bitfarms today with them and Riot and that whole saga that's been going on today. I'm going to talk about a new play that I'm looking at right now, as well as an old play that is going quite badly here. Stick around for all of that. But before we get going, smash that like button, subscribe if you've been with us a while and haven't done so yet. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio. Let's start with Bitfarms. So Bitfarms and Riot announced a settlement. All right, and what does this entail? So these are the highlights. Andres Finkelstein, they stepped down from the board. Okay, so they've been removed from the board. Okay, Bitfarms appoints Amy Friedman to the board of directors. Okay, we already knew that. Uh, the board will nominate a new independent director for election at a special meeting, so a new member of the board, and a standstill agreement through 2026 through that annual meeting. So it's until next year. Oh, not next year, but the year after next. Okay, so those are the highlights. You can skip on to the next timestamp to see the Bitfarms chart if that's all you wanted. So let's see here. Where do we go? So under the terms of their agreement, so yeah, Andres stepped down. Bitfarms appointed. Okay, that's fine. So Riot has agreed to withdraw its June 2020 or June 24, 2024 requisition as amended, and to accept customary standstill provisions through the Bitfarms 2026 annual meeting. Basically, they're going to chill out until 2026 under this agreement that they have made with Bitfarms. There will be a special meeting held, and I believe that special meeting can come no later than November 20th. Yeah, no later than November 20th, 2024. This meeting will occur where they will vote to potentially add a new member to the board. So Riot's kind of getting its way in that respect, where they're getting just one board member. They wanted two, but they're going to get one. So that's compromise. That's compromise in action right there. So it seems as though they are coming to some sort of agreement where they're both coming to compromises in order to move forward from what's been going on. Let's see. The company has provided Riot with certain rights, subject to certain exceptions, to purchase more shares. So they have given Riot rights to buy more shares, even though they currently own just under 20% of the company. They've given them rights to purchase even more shares as long as Riot continues to hold at least 15% or more of the company, meaning they can't dump more than 5% of their current bag, or go beneath that amount later in the future as they own more, and to ensure that they don't just absolutely crash the company in a hostile takeover fashion. So that's kind of protecting themselves there. So it looks like they're actually coming to some sort of decent agreement where they're both kind of getting things that they want, without just destroying the company in the process. So this actually isn't bad. It's the first time it seems as though Riot is finally acting like an adult after they had that tantrum for quite a while there. So this is actually good to see. All right, let's take a look at the Bitfarms chart. We're going to look at Bitfarms and Riot today, and that's pretty much it, unless something else when I open up the panel here is like just going absolutely nuts. So right now we came up on the 21 EMA on Bitfarms, and we hit it twice now and failed. But we are hanging out below it. So we are creating something of a flag right here that we've been doing since September 13th. Bit of a flag right there. If we can get above that 21 EMA, I do see room up to about $3 on Bitfarms. And this is the Canadian one. So I don't see $3. I see more like $2.25 or something. There we go. I see room up to, 225. Hey, look at me go. So we do need to get above that 21 EMA. We've been slamming into it 1, 2, 3 times. This is going to be our fourth time. This might be the fourth time, might be the charm there. We are doing a bit of an ascending move here. I don't necessarily love that, but it is in a channel, right? It's in an ascending channel right here. And the top of that channel is about 218, 219. And if we can get above this yellow line that's been coming down here for a while, then we can see this thing potentially get out of this downward channel that we've been in for a bit of time here. I mean, we came back into this channel, so I'm gonna go. I know that we came out of this big ascending channel once, twice, 3 times, 4 times now almost, but we keep coming back into it. So I leave it on the chart. So we've got room up to about 225 once we conquer that 21 EMA on Bitfarms. Let's take a look at the ATR bands real quick, see where those are sitting. So let me turn off my day trading setup there. ATR band, A, B, and C, or T, C, and B. Yeah, the mid one is up at 213, which will be a bit of a, so we could wick up to 213 and come right back in underneath the 21 EMA, and that would signal some poor movement there. We won't that signal that we're not going any higher until we conquer that 213, that mid ATR band, and then we've got room up to 243 at the top of the ATR bands there. So Bitfarms is actually setting up for a move up here. It's setting up for a move up. Now, if we lose $2 again, though, we could come right back down to like 190, 184, 170. That's totally within the cards here. But if we can get above the mid ATR band and hold there, this thing is very much primed to pop right back up into the mid to high twos, maybe even into the threes here before too long, especially with this finally coming to an end. Let's take a look at Riot. How's Riot doing today? Let's see. Riot is actually doing a little better today as well. They're up 2.78%. They are in an ascending channel that I don't really like. It's like a very weak one too, like this weak ascending channel right here that they've been in. They need to get out of this thing. Now this could be construed as a potential like really like lopsided and ugly, but head and shoulders, right? Shoulder there, head, come up, shoulder, and then once we get above that mid ATR band, that would be acting as the neckline at about 759. We would have room up to potentially $9 in a slanted fashion. So that's possible there on Riot. So it's not all doom and gloom. Riot has been trading near its yearly lows for a while now, and that makes it in some respects a little bit safer than some other plays, potentially just because it doesn't have too far to fall before being caught. So Riot might be seeing some upside now that this is coming to an end, because this has been dragging on them for a while now. And if they get above that mid ATR band at 756, they do have room up to about $9 on Riot. Okay, let's take a look and see if there's anything going absolutely bonkers today that I should look at. Let's see, IREN's up 6%, WULF up 6%, Bit Digital up 5%. So those are cool. Let's take a look at those real quick. Let's see what's going on there. Let's start with the highest one, which is WULF. WULF, I said over the weekend, I've been saying this thing is looking bullish. It's still looking bullish. This created something of a double bottom here. Boom, boom. We came to the top of that today. If we can't get over 496, this may give it back and come back and continue forming this pennant, this rising pennant here. Okay, until we eventually break 496. When we break 496, we're going to run again for the highs on WULF. So watch that. The fact that we are creating an inverted hammer here after coming off of that 496 level, unable to break it, that's a little bit ominous. So I would be looking for it to come back and test this red line again, potentially before moving up one more time to slam into the top of that pennant and then maybe break it and run for the highs again on WULF. Let's take a look here at IREN, the next highest for the day. IREN, 586. IREN is a little weaker than WULF here. It is forming a bit of a flag here, so you can see it kind of came up and then started flagging this way a little bit. It needs to get above this ATR band, the mid one, at 806. Above 806, and we're going to start seeing this thing want to move up. Now, there is the 200-day moving average ahead of that at 836 that we also need to conquer. So we could wake up to 836 and find ourselves right back below the mid ATR band on IREN. But again, similar to like Riot, we are forming something that could end up being like an inverted head and shoulders, right? We've got a shoulder and then a head, and then we come back down, maybe make a shoulder down here at like $7. And then once we come up and cross above like that 840 range, we could find ourselves flying all the way back up to like $12 pretty quick on IREN. Because there's not a lot in our way between 850 and $12. There's not too much resistance in the way. There's a little bit at like 966, but once we're past 966, we could find ourselves at $12 very quickly on IREN. So I do like this chart. I like how it looks right now. I want to see it get above this white line here and then just rock it right up. What's going on with Bit Digital? How's Bit Digital doing today? Bit Digital is actually looking really good. It's breaking out of its flag. It's above the mid ATR band. It's holding really nicely there. It does need to get above this yellow line here, which currently lies at 351. But it is looking very bullish compared to its peers right now. It's just getting more and more parabolic. At some point, I would like to see Bit Digital do a nice big jump up to like $5-6 in a real quick fashion, like especially once we get above that 384 line right here, because that ends up being a double bottom. Right here, we came down, made a bottom, came up, made another bottom. The neckline for that bottom is that 384. Once we're above that, we could find ourselves running for these highs again here in the 5s and 6s potentially on Bit Digital. So I think they're just one HPC upgrade away from potentially seeing that pretty quickly on those charts. So that's then it for the miners. That's it for the miners. So let's take a look at Disney. So Disney is that play I was talking about that I am looking at right now. So I got my trade set up here. I got white is the Bollinger Bands, blue is the 21 EMA, green is the 5 EMA. Why do I like this setup? So we came down below the 21 EMA, right? And then we came up above it. Now, I mean, arguably you should have gotten in at 91 and rode it up to 95, right? Okay, that would have been the obvious choice. But the second best choice is that pullback, right? That pullback test potentially for the 21 EMA, which is down at $91. We might not get it. We might hit the 5 and continue to crawl back up. What I am looking for is either a move up above this area right here. I want to see a move back up above basically $94. I'm going to make that one white. Above $94, I'm looking for a quick move up back up to 96, potentially even back up to the 200-day moving average, which is all the way up at $100. Now, we could test the 21 EMA first. Okay, we could end up doing that. And so basically anything below the 21 EMA, if we go under the 21 EMA and close, I wouldn't be watching it again until a candle opened and closed again above the 21 EMA. So we could come down there, which is at 91. Ideally, we would get an entry at 91 and ride it up to almost 100, right? Ride it up to like 96, 97, and then jump out. So what I'm watching here is I want to see a closure above $94 on the daily, and then I'd be looking to go long, potentially up to even $100 over the course of the next couple of weeks or month or two. Now let's talk about the one that's not doing so hot. So TMF, the bonds. The bonds have been doing so badly, just atrocious since the rate cut. Since the rate cut, this thing has come down. This thing has come down 8% on TMF. That means we're looking at what, a little over 2% ish for the regular bonds, but down 8%. It's outside of my ascending channel here. We had a break below the 21 EMA. This thing might come all the way down to the 200-day moving average down at $55 before it starts to crawl back up again. That is brutal, absolutely brutal, especially considering we just got a 0.5 rate cut. You'd expect the bonds to, especially the long dated ones, to be getting valued higher. The reason this isn't happening is because the 20-year yield is actually climbing right now. The 20-year yield is actually climbing and is actually getting a buy signal on the daily right now. Now, this is resistance. There is some resistance here where we currently are. I wouldn't be surprised to see it maybe peak up another couple of basis points and then collapse back down. This isn't going to continue up. TMF isn't going to rocket back up until the price of this thing gets back below the 5 moving average, which is down at 4.114%. Until that happens, not going to go up. This thing's going to go down. But overall, it is in a downtrend, right? It is and has been in a downtrend. Okay, let's draw a line, something like this. Is that, maybe not. Let me put my line right there, something like that, right? And if we go here, yeah, that's about right. So we're coming up on a resistance line here, on a trend line. Coming up on a trend line right now. We're actually touching it as we speak. A trend line, a more aggressive downward trend line. Now, if we don't fail here, we could see ourselves pop up higher, and that's going to cause it to drop dramatically for a bit. Okay, what we want to see is the 20-year rates collapse down further. Ever since the rate cut, these things has been moving up. How much has it moved up? It has moved up 3% in terms of, in relation to itself. It's moved up 3% since the rate cut. So that's why TMF is taking an absolute bath right now. I'm down about 45% on my TMF positions that I've been taking out just leading into the rate cut. Okay, I'm not enjoying that, but I am holding it since it's out until February. I can weather this storm down potentially to 55. Any lower than 55, though, we lose the 200-day moving average, and I think I'm just going to take that loss and just accept it as such and move on to the next thing. So that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.